All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long weekend here at the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame inaugural induction ceremony. We have our last guest here, the keynote speaker of the event, Jack O'Callahan, also a member of the 1980 U.S. Men's Olympic ice hockey team, better known as the Miracle on Ice team. Jack, what does it mean to not only be part of this inaugural Hall of Fame, but to have the entire 1980 team recognized for this some 40 years later?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting for us. I mean, we really love this part of the country. We love this part of New York State, and to be part of this inaugural class in the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame is it's just a special moment for us, and I was glad to be able to hear and accept it on behalf of my teammates.
Now, there were a few people who you mentioned in your speech, a number of people mentioned in their speeches, who could not be here for various reasons. Two stand out: Herb Brooks, who unfortunately late Herb Brooks for many years, and more recently Mark Pavlich.
Yeah.
You knew Mark probably as well as anybody. What does it mean to have his contribution recognized now when so many NHL teams have not been willing to recognize this issue with a lot of people, not just Mark, to have the United States, to have the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame, and you guys be able to keep Mark's spirit alive in the positive light?
Well, so we also lost Bobby Suter, was another player on our team, a defenseman, who had a heart attack about like 15 years ago now. And then Mark obviously had some psychological issues. He had some things that happened to him. We're not quite sure exactly what the cause of it was. Unfortunately, with CTE, which is sort of traumatic brain injuries. They can't really tell if that's what you had until they do an autopsy. It's unfortunate. I'm involved in a lot of it. It's when I was in Chicago, I was part of the group that's raising money and funding and education, and also even with the military, with our veterans. So we're not sure what's going to happen. And the NHL and NFL and the sports leagues, I don't know. They're all about the dollars, and they're afraid of the liability, whatever. But they should be more concerned with the players and player safety. Hopefully, it's trending that way. We shall see, because there are just some terrible stories of NHL players and NFL players, retired players that are having difficulties in their lives, taking their own lives with these traumatic brain injuries that are cumulative. And I'm hopeful that as time evolves, and there'll be a recognition of it. And it's not just about money, it's really about player safety. We don't need to get paid because I had 10 concussions, you got to give me X dollars. We just want generations to be safe, and we want help now for the guys that are struggling with things. We want a protocol that they can get into where they won't get to the point where they think their only choice is to take their own life, and that's just terrible.
Absolutely well said. And we saw tonight that Mark's sister was here, Jean, and Clint Malarchuk, who is part of the ranch that helps former athletes who have these type of problems. To see that whole thing come together, especially after Mark's unfortunate passing, to have the 1980 team get together, even if it's just a few of the guys, but to have, in the years coming, there will be more of you guys who show up individually to here, and I'm sure to the ranch.
Yeah.
Speak to that as to where you feel it back to now.
Well, one of the great things, and I think that this theme was beaten home a little bit tonight, it was touched on quite a bit, it was the aspect of hockey players in their after hockey lives, getting involved in their communities, giving back, helping raise money. I mean, Clark Gillies, obviously, passed away of cancer recently. Was a wonderful man. I got to know him the last 5 or 6 years of his life. Great guy. But Clark is sort of the epitome of people that live in these communities, that get involved in building, relationships, whether with hospitals or with agencies like the ranch, or like in Chicago, we would work with the Ronald McDonald House and the various places. We build different things in the Ronald McDonald houses. I mean, Pat LaFontaine talking about working with hospitals. It's endemic across all sports, specific hockey for sure. And what Clint's doing, involved with sort of players and some of the psychological issues that develop, right? I mean, depression is a real disease, and again, it's the energy that gets behind this, driven by former players, driven by professionals in those fields that are going to make a difference. And I think it's cumulative. And the more it happens, the more it will happen, and then all of a sudden, we'll start saving lives.
Hopefully that can be the case, that these initiatives can end up being successful,
Right.
hopefully sooner rather than later. I do want to end this on a little bit of a lighter note. Hopefully it is a night of celebration for you after all. And I'm going to go this route with it. The whole 1980 team, obviously it's phenomenal what they did. We haven't seen it since that a team has really captured the United States image, the imagination, the way the 1980 U.S. team has. David Quinn is currently trying to fill Herb Brooks' role with the 1980 team. Obviously, he's not trying to be Herb Brooks. He is his own coach, obviously. But what do you see that Team USA needs to do to recapture the imagination of young boys and girls everywhere to the point where they can go out and be that next team that gets a movie made about them?
Well, I don't know if Quinny is trying to be Herb Brooks.
Well, I'm saying
if anything,
he's a coach. He's trying to motivate them.
If anything, Quinny's his mentor would probably be Jack Parker at Boston University. But I don't know. Look, there's great American hockey players. There's, USA Hockey has these development programs. They're training coaches. There are a lot of ex-NHL players, ex-college players, ex-pros. Guys, men and women that have played at high levels, that are all giving back into their hockey communities as coaches, as mentors. They're involved in the game of professional hockey at all levels. I think we're doing fine. You have to understand that the other countries in the world, they haven't stopped trying to get better either. So competition, there's an old saying, right? The other team gets paid to win too. So you're playing against great teams from Sweden and Finland and the various old Soviet republics. Switzerland has become a really good team. Germany. You just look around the world. Hockey is a growth-oriented sport in every country in the world, and it's hard for the U.S. I mean, it's hard to win. It's hard to beat Canada. It's hard to beat anybody. And for us, I would just say that we caught lightning in a bottle here in Lake Placid, which was awesome. And you know what? That movie froze us in time, so it doesn't really matter what happens in USA Hockey, because as long as these kids can watch that movie Miracle, they're going to be motivated to become USA Hockey gold medalists.
That's an excellent way to end this. And it's not just the movie Miracle. There is actually a documentary called Miracle as well. There's so much about it. There are books. I believe Mark Wells said that he's coming out with a book about it. Ruzioni started a book. And we wish you and your teammates and your family the best, Jack. Congratulations again on getting into the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame inaugural class. And we hope to see you around at these events in the future.
You will. Cheers. Thank you.